Switching things up a bit, this is the time of year the youngest members of the animal kingdom begin being seen around southwest Montana. Unfortunately, some people worry a little bit too much about their safety. This week in Fish and Wildlife, we talk with Fish, Wildlife, and Parks about Mother Nature's moms and the best advice to make sure those animal babies are going to be okay.
This Week in Fish and Wildlife, sponsored by your local Montana Toyota dealers.
Thursday morning time once again for This Week in Fish and Wildlife. We're on the road once again with Morgan Jacobson from the Montana Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. We're at the end of the Bridgers here, a beautiful scene behind us. You can see the snow up there. That's bringing some animals down like happens often this time of year, and unfortunately some of our human friends are seeing some of these babies and some things like that, and that's just, it never works out for the animal population when that happens, does it?
Yeah, so like you said, Chet, this is a time of year when we're starting to see young wildlife, which is an exciting sight. We are having deer with fawns and elk with calves and all kinds of baby wildlife, which is fun to see. Something that we get calls on every year is people have found a baby animal, a fawn deer, for example, and have picked it up and have taken it home or are wondering what to do with it because they think it's orphaned. And it's a real problem because it reduces the chance of that animal's survival a lot. And actually it's pretty normal for deer and elk to leave their young in a spot for a period of time and then come back to it. So, an animal that you might see that you might think is orphaned may not be. So just something to keep in mind and to remember this time of year.
And we've talked about this with the deer and with the elk and things like that, but it's other animals too. It's the ducklings. It's all those little critters that Mom has a plan. She's got this handled for the most part, and if we just kind of let it unfold, it's a lot better for all involved.
That's right. There are some great mothers among our wildlife in Montana, and so really by what we tell people is if you care, leave them there. Mm-hmm. And what we mean by that is if you find young wildlife that appears to be alone, the best chance at survival that you can give that animal is to leave it where you found it and to not approach it. Another really great way that people can help wildlife survive this time of year, Chet, is to keep pets under control. Having dogs on a leash, it reduces the stress of that animal, but it also prevents an encounter between your pet and you and that animal. And so really just the best thing that people should keep in mind is to leave wildlife where you found it. If people do find an animal that appears abnormally sick or injured or the circumstances appear strange or suspicious, to call FWP, and we can look at that. But really, we just, for the public safety and for the good of our wildlife, just ask the public to leave the animals where they find them.
Yeah, I think that might be the best piece of advice there. If you do see something, you have a question in the back of your mind, contact you folks. You can handle whatever needs to be done, but don't personally become involved with
That's
that.
right. And again, it is normal for young wildlife to be alone sometimes, and so. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, like you said, if something appears sick or if the circumstances just aren't normal, to give FWP a call.
What's the line again?
If you care, leave them there.
It's perfect. Morgan Jacobson again. Thank you for that little tip of advice. And that is This Week in Fish and Wildlife.
This Week in Fish and Wildlife was sponsored by Toyota. Let's go places.